You want to sell what? My father's coffee mug stopped midway to his lips, his expression a mixture of disbelief and concern. My mother, always the more diplomatic one, simply pressed her lips together and studied the business plan I'd spent weeks perfecting. The silence in our suburban kitchen that Sunday morning was deafening. I'd just told them I was quitting my prestigious consulting job to start a sustainable fashion rental subscription service for professional women. Digital clothes rental? My father finally managed, setting down his mug with more force than necessary. Sarah, you have an MBA from Wharton. We didn't spend a fortune on your education so you could become, what exactly, a glorified dry cleaner? That moment, etched in my memory like an old photograph, marked the beginning of my journey. What my parents didn't understand then was that I wasn't just starting a business, I was revolutionizing how professional women approached their wardrobes in the post-pandemic world. Looking back now, as I sit in my company's downtown headquarters overlooking the city skyline, I can't help but smile at how far we've come. But let me start from the beginning, because this story isn't just about proving my parents wrong, it's about believing in yourself when nobody else does. The seed for Style Cycle was planted during my consulting days at McKinsey. I was 28, ambitious, and spending an astronomical amount on designer workwear that would sit forgotten in my closet after a few wears. Every morning, I'd stand in front of my walk-in closet, surrounded by expensive clothes, yet still feel like I had nothing to wear. The irony wasn't lost on me. Here I was, advising Fortune 500 companies on operational efficiency, while my own wardrobe was a monument to waste. The breaking point came during a particularly crucial client presentation. I had spent $800 on a new suit, only to spill coffee on it right before the meeting. As I sat there, trying to position my portfolio to hide the stain, I thought about how many other professional women faced similar situations. We were all playing this expensive game of keeping up appearances, while our closets grew more cluttered and our bank accounts lighter. That evening, I started researching. The statistics were staggering. The average professional woman spends over $3,000 annually on work clothes, wears each item only 7 times, and contributes to an industry that accounts for 10% of global carbon emissions. The more I dug, the more convinced I became that there had to be a better way. I spent the next 6 months developing my business plan. Every evening after work, every weekend, every spare moment was dedicated to market research, financial modeling, and technology platform development. I interviewed hundreds of professional women, studied successful subscription businesses, and analyzed the logistics of dry cleaning and clothing maintenance at scale. My parents' reaction that Sunday morning wasn't surprising. They were immigrants who had built stable lives through traditional careers, my father as an engineer, my mother as a pharmacist. Their definition of success was firmly rooted in the security of corporate employment. To them, entrepreneurship was a synonym for unemployment. But what about your 401k? My mother had asked, genuine concern in her voice. Your health insurance? Your future? I had answers to all these questions in my meticulously prepared business plan, but they couldn't see past their fears. Every family dinner became an intervention of sorts. They'd send me job listings from their friends' companies, articles about failed startups, and statistics about small business bankruptcy rates. My father even created a PowerPoint presentation titled The Hidden Costs of Entrepreneurship, complete with graphs and pie charts showing all the ways I could fail. Sarah, he'd say, pulling up another slide, did you know that 90% of startups fail within the first year? And fashion startups? The numbers are even worse. But here's the thing about having immigrant parents who sacrificed everything for your education, they inadvertently teach you the very persistence you need to prove them wrong. Every no I heard from them only fueled my determination. Every skeptical look strengthened my resolve. I started small, running a pilot program with 30 professional women in my network. Each participant paid a monthly subscription fee for access to a rotating designer wardrobe. We handled the cleaning, maintenance, and logistics. The feedback was overwhelming. Women loved the convenience, the sustainability aspect, and the ability to experiment with different styles without commitment. The early days were brutal. I converted my apartment's second bedroom into a makeshift distribution center. Racks of clothes lined every wall, and I spent my evenings packaging orders and coordinating with local dry cleaners. My savings dwindled rapidly, and there were moments when my parents' warnings echoed loudly in my mind. One particularly challenging day, after dealing with a lost shipment and a customer complaint, I found myself sitting on my floor, surrounded by garment bags, wondering if I'd made a terrible mistake. That's when I received an email from one of our subscribers, Catherine, a senior vice president at a tech company. Style Cycle has changed my life. she wrote. Last week, I nailed a board presentation wearing a dress I could never have afforded to buy. The confidence it gave me was priceless. You're not just renting clothes, you're giving women the ability to present their best selves without compromise. That email became my North Star. I printed it out and kept it on my desk, reading it whenever doubt crept in. The turning point came 3 months into the pilot. Catherine, the same executive who had sent me that encouraging email, mentioned Style Cycle during a television interview about sustainable business practices. She was discussing her company's environmental initiatives when she said, "Even my wardrobe is sustainable now, thanks to an innovative startup called Style Cycle." The impact was immediate. Orders flooded in faster than we could handle. That same week, Forbes featured us in their Startups to Watch section. Our waiting list grew from 0 to 3,000 in 48 hours. I still remember my mother's voice when she called after seeing the article. "Sarah," she paused, and I could hear the shift in her tone. "The woman in my book club asked if her daughter could join your waiting list." It wasn't immediate acceptance, more like cautious optimism, but it was a start. My father started asking different questions, not "Why are you doing this?" but "How are you managing inventory? And have you considered expanding to other cities?" The real breakthrough came during our series of funding round. We had outgrown my apartment-turned-warehouse and were operating from a small commercial space. Our subscriber base had grown to 500, and we had proven that the model was scalable. When we secured $5 million in venture capital, my father insisted on coming to the office. He spent hours examining our operations, asking detailed questions about our technology platform, and analyzing our growth projections. I watched him move through the space, taking notes and occasionally nodding to himself. At the end of the day, he pulled me aside. "You know," he said, adjusting his glasses the way he always did when he was about to say something important, "this isn't at all what I imagined." This is impressive. Coming from him, it was everything. The funding allowed us to scale rapidly. We developed a proprietary AI algorithm that could predict sizing and style preferences with remarkable accuracy. Our technology platform evolved to handle complex logistics, from tracking garment conditions to optimizing cleaning schedules. We partnered with high-end designers who saw the potential in reaching a new market through our platform. But scaling brought its own challenges. Managing inventory across multiple cities, maintaining quality control, and ensuring consistent customer experience tested every skill I'd learned in business school and then some. There were nights when I slept on the office couch, days when I forgot to eat, and weeks when I barely saw daylight. During one particularly challenging expansion phase, we faced a crisis. A shipment of designer pieces worth over $200,000 was damaged during transport. Our insurance didn't cover the full amount, and we were looking at a significant loss. I called my father in panic. Instead of saying, "I told you so," he spent 3 hours helping me analyze our options. He used his engineering background to suggest improvements to our packaging system and even connected me with a logistics expert from his professional network. That's when I realized that my parents' initial skepticism had transformed into something valuable. They had become my most trusted advisors. Today, Style Cycle operates in 12 major cities, with over 50,000 active subscribers and a waiting list that grows daily. We've saved our clients millions of dollars in clothing expenses and prevented thousands of garments from ending up in landfills. Our technology platform has been featured in technical journals, something that particularly delights my father. Our headquarters now occupies 3 floors of a downtown office building. The space is a far cry from my apartment's second bedroom. Floor-to-ceiling windows offer panoramic city views, and our state-of-the-art distribution center uses robotics to manage inventory. But my favorite spot is still my office, where that first encouraging email from Catherine hangs framed on the wall. My mother now proudly tells her friends that her daughter is disrupting the fashion industry, a phrase she learned from our marketing materials and uses at every opportunity. My father has become our unofficial advisor, spending his retirement years poring over our quarterly reports and sending me detailed analyses of our operational efficiency. The impact of Style Cycle has exceeded my wildest dreams. We've created over 300 jobs, launched a mentorship program for women in technology, and established a foundation that provides professional attire to women entering the workforce. Our environmental initiatives have earned us recognition from sustainability organizations worldwide. But success isn't just about the numbers. It's about the messages I receive from our subscribers, women who feel more confident in their careers, who are saving money for their children's education, who are making more sustainable choices. It's about the team we've built, the culture we've created, and the change we're driving in the industry. One story particularly stands out. Last year, a subscriber wrote to tell us how Style Cycle had helped her through a career transition. She had left her corporate job to start her own business and couldn't afford to maintain her professional wardrobe. Through our service, she was able to maintain her image while bootstrapping her company. She closed her first major client deal wearing a Style Cycle outfit. These stories remind me why I started this journey. It was never just about clothes, it was about empowering women to pursue their ambitions without compromise. The journey has taught me countless lessons about business, leadership, and perseverance. I've learned that innovation often comes from solving personal pain points. That timing is crucial, but persistence is everything, and that sometimes the biggest obstacles come from those closest to us. Last month, I was invited to give a commencement speech at my old business school. My parents sat in the front row, beaming with pride as I shared our story. The message I gave to the graduates was the same one I wish I could give to my younger self on that Sunday morning in my parents' kitchen. Your vision doesn't need everyone's understanding, it just needs your unwavering belief. Success isn't always about following the prescribed path. Sometimes, it's about having the courage to forge your own. And sometimes, the people who love you the most will doubt you the hardest, not because they don't believe in you, but because their love makes them fear for you. Looking ahead, Style Cycle is preparing for international expansion. We're developing partnerships with sustainable designers and implementing blockchain technology to track our garments' lifecycle. Our latest funding round valued the company at $300 million, a number that still feels surreal. The technology we're developing goes beyond fashion. Our AI-driven sizing algorithm is being studied by major retailers, and our logistics platform has applications across various industries. We're exploring partnerships that could revolutionize how people think about ownership versus access across multiple categories of consumer goods. But the metric I'm most proud of isn't on any spreadsheet. It's the gradual transformation I've witnessed in my parents' understanding of success. They've learned that security can come from taking calculated risks, that stability can be found in disruption, and that sometimes the best way to honor their sacrifices is to take the very leap they fear. This transformation was evident last week when my father attended our quarterly board meeting. As he sat there, listening to presentations about our growth projections and international expansion plans, I caught him smiling. During the break, he pulled me aside. "You know," he said, "when you first told us about this idea, I thought you were throwing away everything we had worked for, but now I understand, you weren't rejecting our sacrifices, you were building upon them. You took the education we gave you and created something we could never have imagined." My mother, who now has a Style Cycle subscription of her own, has become one of our most valuable beta testers. She regularly sends detailed feedback about our service and has even started a small focus group with her friends to help us understand the needs of our older subscribers. The business continues to evolve. We're launching a sustainable fashion line, developing virtual fitting room technology, and exploring ways to make our service more accessible to women at different price points. Each new initiative brings its own challenges, but now I face them with the confidence of someone who has proven that unconventional ideas can work. My father still sends me articles, but now they're about successful female founders and sustainable fashion innovations. My mother still worries, but now it's about whether I'm taking enough time off to rest. And me? I'm still that same girl with a dream, just with a bit more experience and a lot more determination. For anyone out there facing skepticism from loved ones about their entrepreneurial dreams, remember this: sometimes the greatest businesses are born from ideas that make others laugh. Your parents' doubt doesn't define your potential, and sometimes, the sweetest success is the kind that transforms skeptics into believers. The journey from that Sunday morning in my parents' kitchen to where we are now hasn't been easy. There have been countless challenges, sleepless nights, and moments of doubt, but each obstacle has made us stronger. Each setback has taught us valuable lessons, and each success has validated our vision. Style Cycle is more than just a business, it's a testament to the power of believing in yourself when others don't. It's proof that with enough determination, innovation, and hard work, you can turn skepticism into support and dreams into reality. As I write this from my office, watching the city lights twinkle in the evening sky, I can't help but feel grateful for every step of this journey, even the difficult ones, the doubts, the fears, and yes, even my parents' initial skepticism all played a role in shaping who I am and what Style Cycle has become. Just yesterday, during our weekly family dinner, my father surprised me with a folder full of news clippings about Style Cycle from the past 5 years. He had kept every article, every mention, every milestone. "For your archives," he said with a smile. "Someone might want to write a book about this someday." And my mother? she finally admitted that maybe, just maybe, becoming a glorified dry cleaner wasn't the worst career move after all. In fact, she's now suggesting new features for our app and has strong opinions about our user interface. As for me, I'm already thinking about the next phase of our growth. There's still so much to do, so many ways to innovate, so many women to empower. But now, when I face challenges or doubts, I have something I didn't have at the beginning: a track record of turning skeptics into believers and dreams into reality. Looking back at that Sunday morning in my parents' kitchen, I realized that their skepticism wasn't just an obstacle to overcome, it was the catalyst that pushed me to prove that success doesn't always look the way we expect it to. Sometimes it looks like a warehouse full of designer clothes, an app that revolutionizes how women dress, and parents who learn to believe in dreams they never dared to dream themselves. The future holds endless possibilities. We're exploring new technologies, entering new markets, and continuing to push the boundaries of what's possible in our industry. But no matter how big Style Cycle grows, I'll never forget where it all started, with a crazy idea and parents who loved me enough to worry about its success. My father recently suggested I should consider expanding into men's clothing. You know, he said with a wink, for all those other crazy dreamers out there, I think that's what you call coming full circle.